Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to My Deep Guide. Today we're going to take a first look and unboxing of the Amazon's Kindle Paperwhite. This is a device that's a direct competitor, oddly, to the latest Kindle that comes from Amazon. So let's check it out and see what we get and how the device looks like. Here it is. We got the Kindle Paperwhite in black, unfortunately, because there wasn't a white one available, with the water-safe fabric cover. So let's now focus on unboxing and checking out the device itself first. The packaging is extremely similar, so there's no mistaking it that this is an Amazon Kindle device. On the front we have the representation of the device and some blah, and also the specification on the back. Things that make Paperwhite a more desirable device than the new Kindle is basically everything. So it's waterproof, it has a 300 ppi display, and it also has 8 gigabytes of storage as opposed to 4. But overall there should be some considerable differences, so let's open it up and see what we get. Alright, so it's the same packaging as the new Kindle. We have the device here that should slide out, and some documentation, and the USB, micro USB yet again. Alright, so let's move this out. We get the Kindle device, the USB, micro USB cable, and a couple of booklets. Let's open up the device and check it out. Alright, so definitely it's a different story than the basic Kindle product. Right off the bat, we have a full-on glass front, which makes it a flush surface, unlike the ordinary Kindle. The screen looks nicer, and it looks like a more modern device. Second of all, on the back, it's the same type of design. You have the Amazon logo embossed in the back, but more importantly, the quality of the plastic is of a much higher grade than the basic Kindle. And also, the device is a little bit less heavy, and it feels that it's thinner. So I will be doing comparisons later on, but it looks like it is thinner than the basic Kindle device. Other than that, we have nothing on the top, nothing on either of the sides, and as usual on the bottom we have the power button and the micro USB slot. The glass surface, it's not super shiny, it is a bit matte, but it certainly could be a little bit more matte, because I've seen devices with the glass panels, for example Poke 2, which is also full glass panel, but less reflective. The reflection here is a little bit too sharp, so a little bit more diffusion would be nice. Also, the fingerprints, while of course a glass panel is going to be a fingerprint happy panel, you have different types. This one doesn't seem to be too happy to get rid of fingerprints. It's very happy to receive fingerprints, but it doesn't let go of them that easily. So maybe some kind of cloth would be a necessity for this guy to keep it a little bit less smudged. Overall, I think it feels good in the hand. It certainly looks like a much more modern device, and a device that belongs to this era, unlike its cheaper sibling. So this actually now makes sense as a product when you first look at it. And considering that the price difference between the cheap one, the new Kindle, and Paperwhite is not that considerable, that's a big plus for the Paperwhite for sure. So let's now power it up and see how the startup procedure is and what the screen is like, because that should be one of the major advantages of the Paperwhite, that it has the now standard 300 ppi display. Even now you can actually see that it looks much better than the new Kindle, as they call it, or the basic Kindle. And yes, definitely night and day. This is now the experience that actually makes sense, and it's a high resolution 300 ppi display, finally, built-in light, and weeks of battery life. All right, cool. Let's see what it looks like when it opens up. Same as the basic Kindle device, there is no 5G Wi-Fi support, so only 2.4G. Alright, so I'm hooked up to my Wi-Fi. I have logged into my Kindle. Now it's asking me to do the Goodreads things, but I do not want it, so I'm gonna skip. And we have the navigation instructions here, quick actions, and more on home. And right now we should get updated with my few books that I have there. So there we go. It's definitely there. I don't see the covers yet, but I guess it's still downloading them. Right off the bat, the 300 ppi display definitely is a huge difference when compared to its younger sibling. So there we go. We got the covers as well, and let's see how snappy is the device. I guess he's downloading. Alright, so download is complete. Let's open it up. Alright, so the speed is not much improved compared to the original, but it knows where I've left off. It doesn't have the stupid slide thing, which is very cool, and it works as it should. So everything pretty much is as normal. The first impression is this device now actually makes sense when compared to its cheaper sibling. The other one simply didn't fit into this day and age, 2020. To look at that, it just doesn't make sense. This actually does make sense, but it's really fingerprint happy. Anywho, I don't want to get into the review side of things. This is just the first overview, and my first impression is definitely a more positive experience than the basic Kindle device. Now let's check out the flipbook cover. Right, here it is, and since the device is waterproof, this is also a water-safe fabric cover, which is going to be interesting to see. Open this up and see what we get inside. There it is. Well, it looks pretty much almost identical to the other Kindle's cover, except here we get a paper for the Kindle cover, how to maintain it. The cover, yeah, it's pretty much identical. Unlike on the new Amazon Kindle, as they call it, while this is still heavy, it's a little bit less heavy than on the other one. We still have the magnet that snaps on back, which I really like. Unfortunately, it's the same plastic, cheap plastic all around, and because it ends up here and it doesn't really extend a little bit further, it's quite possible that it might break easily on impact. But it is kind of flexible, but you know, these corners are rigid, so that's gonna snap. Anywho, nothing really surprising here. I think it feels adequate, but when compared to other flip books of the similar price range for other devices, it feels a little underwhelming, mainly because of the plastic cover here and the weight that's in this front cover, which I still don't understand. Why does it have to be that heavy? Let's put the device in. So it goes like this and then snap. And yeah, my initial impression that the plastic is a little bit more elastic than on the new Kindle is definitely there, because the previous one, when it snapped in, you could hear an audible click, like the hardness of plastic and the strain. Here it's way more softer, which means that the plastic is elastic. It stretched and then it was allowed to actually go back, not in a tight manner, but in a more relaxed manner. So that's a good thing. Maybe it won't actually be as rigid as the other one. The device is now in. We should have the sleep function in it as well. Update available, not now, a little bit later. I'm kind of busy. And now it's covered. And it is magnetic, so that's a pretty cool thing, because it will not open even when it's upside down, and it also works, the magnetic thingy, the magnet is on the back as well, which is kind of cool. So this is pretty sweet. So yeah, it's a nice package, it makes sense, and it feels a little bit less bulky and a little bit less heavy. Not dramatically less heavy than the new Kindle, but it's still on the brick side of things, which feels a little dated. Overall, the first impressions are that I think that the Paperwhite belongs to this era a little bit more than the new Kindle, and a little bit better impressions so far. Well, alright, as I said, Paperwhite really gives off a much better first impression than the new Kindle. I like all of the differences that are introduced to it, and I'm really looking forward to actually doing an in-depth review of this guy as well, and then a comparison also between the two, because I think it's not only warranted, I think it's actually quite necessary, because the price difference is very small, and I think that the differences between the devices might be quite large. So we'll see that a little bit later on. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you next time. Bye!